Genesis 17, a reflection on covenant, identity, and God's faithfulness. Genesis 17 is a chapter of renewal, promise, and calling. It reveals God's unwavering faithfulness and reminds us of our identity in Him. Through the story of Abram, we see that God's plans are not just about the promises He gives, but also about the transformation He brings into our lives when we walk with Him. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, "I am God Almighty. Walk before me faithfully and be blameless." This call is not just for Abram. It is an invitation for all believers. God desires a relationship built on faithfulness and wholehearted devotion. Before any promise is fulfilled, God asks for Abram's heart. He asks the same of us today. God then reaffirms His covenant. He promises to make Abram the father of many nations. But something more profound happens. God changes Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of a multitude. Sarai's name is changed as well, to Sarah, meaning princess. In renaming them, God is not just giving them new titles. He is declaring a new identity rooted in His promise. This teaches us that when we follow God, He transforms who we are. We are no longer defined by our past, our failures, or our limitations. We are defined by His calling and His plans for us. God sees beyond who we are today and calls us according to the future He has prepared for us. God then introduces the covenant of circumcision as a sign of this everlasting promise. Every male among Abraham's descendants is to be circumcised, setting them apart as God's people. This physical sign represents a deeper spiritual reality. Belonging to God requires a marked life, a life visibly committed to Him. Though Abraham believes, he still struggles with the enormity of the promise. He laughs to himself at the idea of becoming a father at 100 years old, and Sarah, 90, bearing a child. In his human perspective, it seems impossible. Yet God's response is firm and full of grace. He declares that Sarah will indeed bear a son, and that son, Isaac, will be the child through whom the covenant will continue. Abraham also prays for Ishmael, the son he had through Hagar. God, in His kindness, listens and blesses Ishmael, promising to make him fruitful and the father of 12 rulers. Yet God clarifies that His covenant will be established with Isaac, the child of promise, born by His divine plan. Abraham's immediate obedience is striking. That very day, he circumcises himself, his son Ishmael, and all the males of his household. Abraham's trust leads to action, showing us that true faith is not passive. It responds with obedience, even when the cost is high and the step is hard. Genesis 17 offers us several rich life lessons. 1. God calls us to walk faithfully and blamelessly before Him. Our relationship with God is not just about receiving blessings, it is about a daily journey of trust, obedience, and holiness. 2. God gives us a new identity. Just as Abram became Abraham and Sarai became Sarah, following God means we are made new. Our past does not define us. Our identity is now anchored in His promises and His purposes. 3. Nothing is impossible with God. Abraham and Sarah's situation seemed hopeless from a human perspective, but God specializes in the impossible. When we face circumstances that seem beyond hope, we are invited to trust in God's greater plan. 4. Faith requires visible commitment. The covenant of circumcision was a lasting, visible sign of belonging to God. Today, while the signs of our faith may not be physical, our lives are called to visibly reflect our relationship with Him through love, obedience, and service. 5. Obedience should be immediate. Abraham's response to God's command was swift and complete. In our own lives, when God speaks, we are called to respond with the same kind of wholehearted obedience, trusting that His ways are good. 6. God honors our prayers, but remains faithful to His plans. Abraham cared for Ishmael, and God blessed Ishmael out of compassion. Yet, God remained true to His original promise through Isaac. Likewise, God hears our prayers and answers with love, but He also faithfully accomplishes His perfect will in our lives. Genesis 17 is a reminder that God is a covenant-keeping God. His promises are sure, His calling is transformational, and His faithfulness endures through all generations. As you meditate on this chapter, may you be encouraged to walk faithfully, to embrace the new identity God has given you, and to trust that, even when the path seems unlikely, God's promises will never fail.